Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Dave, and are you ahead of the curve when it comes to your net worth versus other Americans in the same age category? My guess is that you are. After all, you're watching a channel based on personal finance and wealth building. So whatever we focus on, that tends to be our path in an area where we tend to excel. So today I want to take a look at wealth by age according to the most recent survey of consumer finances by the Federal Reserve Board, the big boys. Now, this latest survey was released last month in October of 2023, and it's based on data from 2022, so pretty fresh. So we're going to find out how you stack up. If that is what you're looking for, please stick around. Whoop. Now, you've probably heard of stealth wealth, where people fly under the radar. They just don't flash that cash, but they have a lot of wealth. Often, things are not as they appear. For example, I've got this cup here. It's got a D on it. And you're probably thinking that D stands for Dave, but that is completely wrong. I got this as my holiday wish list. I'm going to give it to my wife. I'm going to see if she can figure it out. It's my D cup. What do you think? Any high fives from any of the dads out there? Oh, there's one. And just like my coffee cup, the same can be said of our hero for today, and that is Theodore Johnson was not as he appeared. He was a poor little UPS driver, right? No, that's completely wrong. Mr. Johnson here, who worked for UPS making about $14,000 a year, was actually a 0.1%er when it came to wealth, despite his wages. Maybe you have heard this story, but good old Theodore here saved 20% of his pay religiously after a friend told him to treat investing like a tax, and consistently bought UPS stock. Now, that 20% over time compounded and helped him accumulate a net worth of about $70 million at the time of his passing back in 1993. Quite impressive. Now, we know that investing in a single stock is too risky, so Theodore certainly dodged a few bullets by only buying UPS stock. And this story certainly has played out probably with people at other successful companies like Apple or Microsoft, I'm sure. But still, if Theodore can join the top 0.1%, making only $14,000, what's going to be our excuse not to be at least in the top 10%? I love the saying, success leaves clues. I believe you can credit Tony Robbins with that saying, but that means even morons can do it. It's not that complicated. Live below your means and save a bunch of money. All done, lesson over. Very simple. Besides, we just made it twice as easy this past week, now that we know that 8% is the new safe withdrawal rate.
If you make 12 and you need to leave 4% in there for inflation raises, that leaves you 8. So I'm perfectly comfortable drawing 8 with these morons who live in their mother's basement with a calculator, and then you put that out into the dadgum community, and then people go, I don't have enough money.
Poor guy has taken a beating on social media over that particular rant. And if you're not familiar, that is famous Dave Ramsey going off on the tried and true safe withdrawal rate of 4% just a week or so ago, stating morons use 4% and 8% is perfectly fine. He just doubled it, made our life a lot easier as far as building our wealth, because we only need half as much now. But you're not going to see another video here on that. Just safe to say that I'm going to stay with 4% as a moron that likes his own basement. So here are the wealth numbers by age that we are going to crush with even morons can do it while living in our parents' basement. Now, credit goes to Lauren for this article on NerdWallet, based off the recent survey from the Federal Reserve Board. Now, the average net worth of U.S. families is now over $1 million at $1.06 million. And that's pretty awesome, right? To be over $1 million. But the number is largely skewed by the large wealth gap here in the United States between the haves. Maybe we should say the major haves and the have-nots. So think of Jeff Bezos and his $165 billion of net worth, along with, let's say, your $300,000 and your neighbor's $100,000. In that case, the average net worth of you three would be $55 billion. That's your average net worth. Congratulations, you three are crushing it. But for two of you, it might not quite feel the same as Jeff's situation. However, the middle of those three numbers would be 300K, one on each side, with the middle person being 300K. That is the median and more indicative of what real net worth is for most Americans. Now, the true median is only $192,900, which is quite a distance from that $1 million average. And if we break net worth out by age group, we get this lovely chart. So where are you? Now, I'll put up a poll before or after this video and ask that you pass along where you fit for your age group. But I strongly feel that this group is crushing it. That's one of the reasons you're likely here. focusing on your retirement or simply ensuring you exceed expectations when compared to your peers that are probably out buying that fancy watch or cruising around in a new car. So I say ignore all that. Live below your means and just keep it going. Now, I'm closing in on 52 quickly. So I'm looking at this $247,000 number here and this $975,000 number here. As someone who has always liked to save, these numbers don't look like a problem. And I'm not saying that to brag, but just impress upon you that as an official moron, just live below your means and save, and you can follow that same path that Theodore followed many years ago. So how much should we be saving? Well, according to Fidelity, 15% is all you need if you start at the young age of 25. But if you wait till age 30, they're suggesting 18%. And at 35, 23%. So obviously a big factor here is the earlier, the better. And if you can build good habits early, you will greatly outpace the majority of Americans if you really look at the numbers. And you're likely to pass that torch also to the next generation in your family as well. Just put it away, and you're going to find that you don't really miss it as you adjust to your new take home. You can still live paycheck to paycheck, but just treat it like a tax, which is how Theodore thought about it, and start growing your personal wealth. And just to prove it out a bit, let's suppose you have an annual household income of $80,000, which may be too high or too low. I get it. I thought it was a reasonable number, so I'm using $80,000. And let's say you started saving 15% of that at age 25, just like Fidelity suggests, with a goal of retiring at age 60. Not too bad. Lots of years to enjoy. That means we are working for 35 years. Well, we can plug that into a compounding calculator, just like what you see here, and we see that $80,000 times 15% conveniently equals $12,000 or $1,000 monthly. And if we assume a 9% rate of return, which is slightly below the historical average market return of 10%, we're going to end up with $3 million beautiful dollars after accounting for eloping on day one and saving $2,525 in, let's say, call it bad, dry buffet chicken at your wedding reception, because I wanted to be close to $3 million. The cool thing here is that compounding interest does the heavy lifting over this long 35-year period. In this case, if we come all the way out and we see this beautiful growth of all this money, we put in $422,525 and we get over $2.5 million of interest as it compounds over those 35 years. That's a beautiful thing. So we will always be able to come up with reasons why we can't save. But if we can build some good habits early and start saving, it will certainly pay off. I know for me, my millionaire next door type of story started when I graduated with a useful degree in chemical engineering. And thanks to mom and dad, thank you guys, I graduated with no debt. Now that makes me a little bit spoiled. I get that. If you're not in that situation, that's one more thing you're gonna have to tackle, but doesn't mean you can't overcome it. Now my wife also graduated with no debt with an English degree. So immediately went out, we bought a house, $150,000, I think 7.25% interest rate, similar to what we have right now. And we made double and triple payments till we paid that thing off in the first 4 to 5 years. That really helped build some equity and build a little bit of a net worth for us. A good way to get started. Now we drove a Mazda Protege and a beat up Saturn during this time. And we were saving about 50% of everything that we made at that time. We really got ahead early, and this really can work. We also put some of that money into stocks like Enron, which went to zero, and America Online, which I don't even remember what happened to that. But we also bought some Apple and some Microsoft. And if you put like $4,000 into each one of those 4 stocks, I don't know, they're worth a lot now, right? Probably $180,000. So you can pick some stinkers. You just need a couple good ones in there too. So diversified portfolio, not everything in UPS, but yes, this can work. Now I will have that pull up, so let me know how you're doing versus the rest of America. My guess is you're exceeding the average by a lot. That's my guess. But if you're not, if you're just getting started, like and subscribe and hear about ETFs and options and real estate and wealth building and everything else, and just understand that success leaves clues. So start focusing on it and it'll probably start happening for you as well. But if you have any questions on this, please ask down below, like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Have a great night. Take care.